Wow, what a great group of people, and this is a wonderful conference. I want to first start by thanking everybody that put this conference on, because this is a wonderful learning experience, a lot of information, so thank you very much for having me here today. Wow, you know where to begin. It's been a long road. I've been fighting to be able to use cannabis for many years. For those of you that don't know much about my health issues, I have many illnesses, including severe chronic pain, life-threatening wasting syndrome. I've had a seizure disorder. I have fibromyalgia, and just a lot of many different diseases, conditions, whatever you want to label them as. And I've also have a brain tumor for which I haven't spoke a lot about, and I'm going to talk very briefly about my tumor because it's very important for you to understand how cannabis came in and helped me through that, because it was one of the most difficult medical treatments that I've ever had to undergo, and cannabis, I don't think I would have made it without cannabis. I mean, I really mean that wholeheartedly. But I started losing sensation because my tumor is actually growing. For you doctors in the room, you'll know what I'm talking about. It was growing in the 5th trigeminal nerve, and the tumor was wrapped around that nerve. And which is, for those of you that don't know what that is, it's the nerve that basically controls the whole left side of your face, your swallowing, your chewing, your tongue, and your eyeball, and literally your scalp from the left side. And I thought it was stress. Needless to say, it was actually my tumor causing problems. And I started getting really worried about that. So last year I saw my doctor and found out, no, it's not stress, it's the tumor. And so I set on the course for radiation treatment, because even though they couldn't see the tumor getting bigger, it was obviously growing and causing damage where they couldn't actually see on the MRI. So when I had radiation, I was actually really scared, because they wanted, you know, they normally give you steroids whenever you have that, and I couldn't have the steroids. And I told the doctor, you know, hey, I can't do the drugs, you know, I've got cannabis. Will that help? Will that work? Can I use it, please? And so, just like all my other doctors, he said, yeah, just bring whatever to the hospital. And I went to Stanford Hospital, which my doctor, Dr. John Adler, developed a new treatment for treating inoperable tumors. It's called the CyberKnife. And I'm so grateful for having such a good doctor and such a brilliant doctor that would create some kind of a machine that would help my inoperable tumor. And so I undergo this treatment, and it was really difficult going through the brain swelling, because most of the time my head felt like it was going to explode off my shoulders. And the side effects, I won't even go into all of them, but I didn't think that I would make it. And I was smoking the straight, you know, cannabis and the keef like I always do, and it wasn't touching it, and I was like, the edible was, I was just like feeling really lost at that point. And so then I tried hash, and hash has been my savior for the last year. If I don't have a lot of it, I start really having a lot of problems, and I get really dizzy, and I get nauseous, and it's hard to eat. And needless to say, when that radiation hit that tumor, it hit that nerve. And so I sit before you, I've lost most of the sensation in the left side of my face. My tongue, my throat on the inside is swollen up on the right, it's on the left side. And it's been really hard. I haven't really spoke much about it, but I'm very grateful that cannabis has once again helped me through another surgery, and once again has made doctors and nurses believers. I had the fortunate luck of having the people from Getty Image follow me too, so we will actually have photos of some of that. And I'm talking mainly about that too because I don't get a chance to really share that much of that kind of stuff with you. And it's been really hard because I've done a lot of that alone, because I kind of have a tendency to turn a little bit inward. when I'm doing that because of the pain. It's just so tremendous. But I think that it's really important for people to really understand how beneficial cannabis is to us patients. Every time I have surgery, I take my vaporizer, my Volcano, into the post-op. When all the other patients are next to me vomiting, I've got my vaporizer and I'm scaling through it as best I can. I've also found that one of the things that's really been helpful is going through all these different medical conditions is trying to keep as much of a positive outlook as you can. In a sense, in some ways, you have to kind of psych yourself out to get through long-term illness, and a lot of people don't understand that concept of the illness, because people that suffer with long-term, you have a lot of ups and downs. You're constantly not only dealing with the fact that cannabis is illegal under federal law, but you're dealing with the fact that your illness is beating down your door. And frankly, to be honest with you, I'm more afraid of these conditions than I am the federal government by far. But let me just tell you a little bit, one of the other things that I've been working on. I started working back, working with child custody issues in medical cannabis, CPS issues in medical cannabis. But one of the things that I've been working on, and it's a lot of this, mind you, I'm very slow at all this because I'm still recovering. I have until August to recover through radiation. But the other thing that I've been working on is, after losing my case, I hired Covington & Burling, which was the law firm that was in Washington, D.C., that was on my case. I was absolutely devastated after losing my case. I'm still kind of grieving for that. It's been very difficult. But let me just tell you a little bit about the bill. It's a medical necessity and terminally ill. It's called the Angel McClary-Raich Medical Necessity Act. And then of whatever year it actually gets sponsored. But basically it will help people that, we used the outline of the courts, in my case in the OCBC, to establish a medical necessity. We've kind of changed it a little bit. And one of the things we also did is we added the provision in there for terminally ill patients. And that's not terminally ill if you're just going to die today or tomorrow or a month, a year from now. It's people that suffered long-term illness. And it slightly changes the Controlled Substance Act, and it slightly changes the FDA, or the Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act, actually, is the one it is. It's narrow in a lot of ways, but it's also broad in a lot of ways, because when it slightly makes changes to those laws, it becomes then where it affects the whole country. So people in Mississippi or New York or Florida or Pennsylvania or Virginia or wherever, if the bill passes, then, and if you are able to qualify for the medical necessity, then you would be able to, under federal law, this isn't a defense, this is actually more of a protection, where you would actually be able to have some protection. We also, in that bill, it has a reporting system to where the federal government would have to report to the Congress and to the President on how many marijuana arrests they're doing in each state. Now, marijuana, not medical cannabis, because the federal government doesn't get that. And so we want to know what some of the disposition of the cases and how they go through the courts, and if they pass them back down to the state. And I've had my attorneys working on that a lot, because I've been too ill a lot of the time to really kind of function on a lot of levels up until recently. So those are some of the things that I'm working on, and I would just like to really encourage people to, that are ill, to really try to keep fighting. And no matter how bad your body hurts, no matter how bad you're suffering, try your very hardest to think of something positive. One of the ways that I've been doing it is I kind of had a makeover. Because I couldn't handle the radiation, and I had to do something different. And so that was one of my ways of coping. And exercise is really important. I've tried to do my best to try to move. And whether it's around the house, dancing, whatever, I'm living for today, because every single minute could be your last. And I'm just having fun with it. And I would like to encourage patients to try to have more fun. Let's not be so serious. Let's enjoy some life.